Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask you something. What's standing between you and the life you dream of? Is it time, money, opportunity, or is it something else? Because tonight, I'm going to show you that the biggest obstacles aren't out there, they're in here. Now, I could stand here and give you the cookie cutter motivational talk, but I respect your time too much for that. So instead, I'm going to introduce you to your enemies. The 3 enemies that are quietly stealing your success every single day. And trust me, by the end of this talk, you're not just going to recognize them, you'll be ready to fight them and win. Let me set the stage with a story. Imagine a young man full of dreams standing on the edge of an opportunity that can change his life. He's got the talent, he's got the ambition, and the door is wide open. But instead of walking through, he hesitates. He takes a step back. Why? Because in that moment, all he can hear is the voice of fear telling him he's not ready. Now here's the twist. That young man could be any one of us. It could be you. It could be me. We've all faced that moment. We've all heard the message unsustainable in life, standing on the brink of something greater but held back by something invisible. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on what's really stopping us. I'm not talking about bad luck or a lack of resources. No, the real culprits are the enemies within us. The ones that whisper in our ears, sabotage our plans, and keep us stuck where we are. And the scariest part, most people never even realize they're under attack. But that's why we're here tonight. This isn't just another speech, this is a call to action. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly who your enemies are and, more importantly, how to take them down. Because here's the truth. You're not just capable of success, you're destined for it. So stay with me. Lean in. Because the next few minutes can change everything. Not because of what I'm saying, but because of what you're about to realize about yourself. Success. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot, isn't it? But let's take a moment to really think about what it means. For some, success is about money. Big paychecks, fancy cars, a house on the hill. For others, it's about recognition, having your name in lights, people applauding your work. And then there are those who see success as something deeper. Waking up every day with a sense of purpose, knowing that what you're doing matters. The thing is, success looks different for everyone. There's no one-size-fits-all definition, and that's the beauty of it. But here's what I've learned. No matter what your version of success looks like, the journey to get there is never smooth. It's full of twists, turns, and roadblocks. The problem is most people think those roadblocks are external, like lack of resources, tough competition, or bad timing. But I'm going to tell you the truth. The biggest obstacles to success aren't out there in the world, they're inside us. They're the doubts, habits, and influences that quietly sabotage our potential. If we want to achieve true success that lasts and fulfills us, we have to redefine it. We have to stop thinking of it as a destination and start seeing it as a process. Success isn't about getting there. It's about becoming someone who can handle the journey, the challenges, and yes, even the failures along the way. Tonight we're going to dive into what holds us back from that process. We're going to face the enemies that make success feel out of reach. And by the end, you'll be equipped to overcome them. Because the truth is, success isn't reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It's there for anyone willing to recognize what's really standing in their way and do the work to move past it. Having consistency in your life will clarity build and retain that forever. We have the proof this works. The truth is, success isn't reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It's there for anyone willing to recognize what's really standing in their way and do the work to move past it. Before we go any further, let me make you a promise. By the end of this speech, you're not just going to walk away inspired, you're going to walk away with a strategy, a plan, a clear understanding of the three forces that are keeping you from the life you want and the tools to defeat them, which I believe are the biggest challenges that you and I run into almost every day. Why does this matter so much? Because let's be real, inspiration alone doesn't change lives. How many times have you heard a great talk, read a motivational quote, or watched something on social media that fired you up, only to find yourself back in the same rut a week later? But that's not what's going to happen here. Because tonight isn't about hyping you up. It's about waking you up. It's about helping you see what's been holding you back, often without you even realizing it. The truth is, the enemies of success are subtle. They don't announce themselves loudly. They work quietly in the background, whispering doubts, planting bad habits, and shaping your environment in ways you barely notice. But their impact, it's massive. Here's why this is important. If you don't know your enemy, you can't fight it. And if you can't fight it, you'll stay stuck. That's why identifying these three enemies is the first step to breaking free from whatever's been holding you back. Because you no longer have an adversary. You're no longer trying to fight who's the worst, usually at your level. You're no longer trying to fight who's the best. You understand who your adversary is. I need you to stick with me, not just for the big moments of this talk, but for every moment. Because each one will give you a piece of the puzzle. And when you have all the pieces, you won't just understand what's been stopping you, you'll know exactly how to overcome it. So here's my promise to you. If you commit to this, if you give me your full attention, you'll leave here tonight with the power to transform your life. The question is, are you ready? The first enemy of success is one we all know too well, even if we don't always call it by its name: fear. It's that knot in your stomach when you're about to try something new. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if people laugh? Fear is tricky. It doesn't come at you like a roaring lion. It sneaks in like a shadow, creeping into your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. It's the thing that keeps you from speaking up in a meeting, even when you have a great idea. It's what stops you from taking a leap of faith on an opportunity because you're afraid of falling. But let me tell you something. Fear is a liar. Fear tries to convince you that it's protecting you, that it's keeping you safe from pain, failure, or embarrassment. But in reality, fear doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It locks you into a life of what ifs and maybes, keeping you from ever finding out what you're truly capable of. Think about this. Every person who's ever achieved greatness has faced fear. The difference between them and everyone else is simple. They didn't let it stop them. They felt the fear and did it anyway. Here's the truth about fear. It's not going anywhere. You can't eliminate it completely, and honestly, you wouldn't want to. Fear serves a purpose. It's a natural response to uncertainty and risk. But the key to success is learning how to control fear instead of letting it control you. You do that by reframing it. Instead of seeing fear as a sign that you should back away, start seeing it as a sign that you're about to grow. Fear only shows up when you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And let me tell you, nothing worth having is inside that comfort zone. So the next time fear shows up, don't shrink back. Acknowledge it. Name it. And then move forward anyway. Because the only thing worse than failing is never trying at all. Fear might knock on your door, but it's up to you whether you let it in or walk right past it toward your success. Fear doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not some random feeling that appears for no reason. No, fear has roots. It digs deep into our minds, often planted by past experiences, failures, or even the expectations placed on us by others. If we want to overcome fear, we first have to understand where it comes from. The fear is always there, it's always with us, and it wants to. For many of us, fear starts early. Maybe it's that moment in school when you raised your hand, got the answer wrong, and everyone laughed. Or maybe it's that time you tried something new and it didn't go as planned. And the sting of failure made you vow never to put yourself out there again. Fear grows from those moments, from those seeds of doubt that tell us, play it safe, don't risk it. But it's not just our past that feeds fear. Society plays a role too. We're constantly bombarded with messages about what we should be doing, what success looks like, and how we're supposed to measure up. Social media, for example, can be a breeding ground for fear. Fear of missing out, fear of not being good enough, fear of falling behind. When we compare ourselves to the highlight reels of others, fear creeps in and convinces us that we're not enough. Then there's the fear of the unknown. Let's face it, we're wired to seek security. The unknown feels like a threat. So our minds try to steer us back to what's familiar, even if what's familiar isn't good for us. It's why people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or routines that keep them stuck. The fear of uncertainty feels scarier than the discomfort of staying the same. But here's the thing, fear is a reaction, not a reality. It's your brain trying to protect you from what it perceives as danger. And while it might have good intentions, it doesn't always have the full picture. Most of the time, the danger fear warns us about isn't real. It's not life-threatening, it's just unfamiliar. To overcome fear, we have to challenge its roots. When fear says you'll fail, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And can I handle it? When fear says you're not good enough, remind yourself of the times you've proven otherwise. And when fear says stay where it's safe, remember that growth doesn't happen in safety. It happens in discomfort. Fear isn't the enemy, letting it control you is. When you trace its roots and understand where it's coming from, you can start to uproot it. You can stop letting it dictate your choices and start using it as a guide. A signal that you're about to step into something bigger than yourself. Now that we've identified fear and its roots, the next question is, how do we overcome it? It's one thing to understand it, but it's another to take action against it. Fear doesn't just go away because we recognize it. It takes intentional effort, a shift in mindset, and practical strategies to keep it from holding us back. The first step in overcoming fear is action. Fear thrives on hesitation. The longer you wait to take action, the stronger fear becomes. Think of it like this. Fear is like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but the more time it has to gather momentum, the bigger and scarier it gets. The key is to stop that snowball before it gains speed. That means taking the first step, no matter how small, toward what you're afraid of. Start with something manageable. If you're afraid of public speaking, don't start by booking a keynote at a massive event. Start small. Speak up in a meeting. Share an idea with a friend. Each small step builds confidence and chips away at fear's power. All right, let's keep going. Another powerful strategy is reframing failure. Most of our fear comes from a deep-seated dread of failing, but what if we looked at failure differently? What if instead of seeing it as a sign of inadequacy, we saw it as a sign of progress? Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than they can count. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. It's how we learn, grow, and get better. One of the best ways to combat fear is to prepare for it. Fear often strikes hardest when we feel unprepared or out of control. If you're afraid of a big presentation, practice until you know it inside and out. If you're nervous about a new opportunity, learn everything you can about it. Preparation doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives you the confidence to face it head on. Another tactic is visualization. Fear lives in your mind, so why not use your mind to fight back? Instead of focusing on everything that could go wrong, spend time visualizing what could go right. Picture yourself succeeding, handling challenges with grace, and coming out stronger on the other side. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's training your brain to expect success instead of failure. And finally, lean into your support system. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, believe in you, and push you forward. Fear loves isolation. It wants you to feel like you're facing your challenges alone. But the truth is, you don't have to. Share your fears with someone you trust and let their perspective remind you that you're stronger than you think. Overcoming fear isn't about becoming fearless, it's about becoming brave. Bravery doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you feel it and take action anyway. The more you practice facing your fears, the less power they'll have over you. And eventually you'll realize that the things you were most afraid of were never as big or as scary as they seemed. Fear only has as much power as you give it. Stop feeding it, and it will start to fade. The second enemy of success is one that disguises itself so well we often don't even realize it's there: procrastination. It's that subtle thief of time that convinces you to wait just a little longer. It's the quiet voice that says, "You'll do it tomorrow," or "Wait until you're ready." But here's the harsh reality. Procrastination is not harmless. It's not just a bad habit, it's a dream killer. Procrastination doesn't show up as fear or negativity. It arrives as comfort, as excuses, as rationalizations. It tells you that you're being strategic by waiting for the perfect moment. But what it's really doing is keeping you from taking action. And let me tell you something. Success doesn't wait for you to feel ready. The perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Think about how often we delay starting something because we tell ourselves we need more time, more information, or more confidence. I'll start that business when I have more money. I'll go back to school when the kids are older. I'll get serious about my health after the holidays. We convince ourselves that we're just waiting for the right conditions. But in reality, we're stalling. Here's the truth. Procrastination is rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of imperfection, and sometimes even fear of success. We put things off because starting means we're stepping into the unknown. It means we're vulnerable to mistakes, to judgment, to change. But procrastination doesn't protect us from those things. It just delays the inevitable. One of the biggest problems with procrastination is that it creates a cycle. The longer we wait to start, the more overwhelmed we feel, and the more overwhelmed we feel, the harder it becomes to start. It's a trap, and the only way out is to break the cycle. How do we do that? By taking action. Imperfect, messy, uncomfortable action. The first step doesn't have to be big, but it has to happen. Write the first sentence. Make the first phone call. Do the first push-up. Whatever it is you're avoiding, start with something so small it feels almost effortless. Because the secret to beating procrastination is momentum. Once you start, it's easier to keep going. Another key to overcoming procrastination is to change your mindset about progress. So many of us get stuck because we believe that if we can't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. But here's the thing. Progress is messy, it's imperfect, it's full of mistakes and lessons learned. And that's okay. The goal isn't to get it right the first time. The goal is to move forward. Time is the one resource we can't get back. Every moment we spend procrastinating is a moment we could have used to move closer to our goals. The clock is ticking whether we act or not. So stop waiting for motivation, for inspiration, for the stars to align. They won't. The only thing that matters is what you choose to do right now. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who start. So stop putting off your dreams. Take the first step today, even if it's small, even if it's scary. Because every step you take moves you closer to the life you're meant to live. And trust me, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll realize that you were ready all along. The third enemy of success is one that many people don't even recognize as a threat. Comfort. At first glance, comfort doesn't seem like a problem, does it? After all, we spend our lives working toward comfort, financial stability, a secure job, a peaceful home. But here's the catch. Comfort can become a trap. It can lull us into complacency and keep us from reaching our full potential. Think about it. When we're comfortable, we stop pushing ourselves. We stop taking risks. We stop striving for more. Why? Because comfort feels safe. It feels familiar. It's easy to convince ourselves that we've done enough, that we're fine where we are, that there's no need to upset the balance. But here's the hard truth. Success doesn't live in the comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen there. Comfort is deceptive. It makes you think you're winning when you're really just standing still. It whispers, why take the risk? Why make things harder? Things are good enough as they are. And so we settle. We settle for jobs that don't fulfill us, relationships that don't inspire us, and routines that don't challenge us. We settle for a life that's okay, when deep down, we know we're capable of so much more. The danger of comfort is that it keeps you from seeing the bigger picture. It blinds you to the opportunities for growth and success that lie just outside your reach. It convinces you that the discomfort of change is worse than the regret of staying the same. But let me tell you something. The regret of not trying is far more painful than the discomfort of stepping out of your comfort zone. Here's a reality. Every great achievement requires sacrifice. It requires stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and embracing the possibility of failure. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, but it's also where the magic happens. Every time you push past your comfort zone, you discover new strengths, new possibilities, and new levels of success. So how do you break free from the comfort trap? First, you have to get honest with yourself. Ask yourself, am I really happy where I am? Or have I just gotten comfortable? If the answer is the latter, it's time to make a change. Start by setting bigger goals. Goals that scare you. Goals that challenge you. Goals that force you to grow. And then take action, even if it feels uncomfortable. Remember, the discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. Surround yourself with people who push you, who challenge you to be better, who refuse to let you settle. Comfort loves company, but growth thrives in an environment of accountability and encouragement. And finally, remind yourself of this. The greatest risk is not taking one. The world is full of people who stayed in their comfort zones and never realized their potential. Don't let that be your story. Don't let comfort rob you of the life you're capable of living. As my mother used to say, and this is the aim I hope to pass on, success demands discomfort. It demands growth. It demands that you step out of what's familiar and into what's possible. So don't settle. Don't play it safe. Push yourself, challenge yourself, and watch how your life transforms when you're willing to embrace the uncomfortable in pursuit of greatness. Because here's the truth about success that most people don't talk about. It requires accountability. No one achieves greatness in isolation. The journey to success is not a solo endeavor. And the people you surround yourself with play a critical role in determining whether you rise or fall. Think about it. Every great athlete has a coach. Every successful business leader has a team. Every artist, innovator, or trailblazer has people in their corner pushing them forward, challenging them, and holding them accountable. Why? Because left to our own devices, it's all too easy to fall back into bad habits, make excuses, or lose focus. Accountability is powerful because it creates a system of checks and balances. It forces you to follow through on your commitments even when you don't feel like it. When you know someone else is watching, when someone else is invested in your success, it's harder to slack off or give up. Those decisions can easily impact the entire franchise or your day. But here's the thing. Accountability isn't just about having someone to answer to. It's also about having people who believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. The right support system can make all the difference. They'll call you out when you're making excuses, remind you of your potential when you're feeling doubtful, and celebrate your wins when you've put in the work. On the flip side, the wrong people can derail you just as quickly. If you're surrounded by negativity, by people who don't believe in your dreams or who constantly criticize your efforts, it becomes that much harder to stay on track. That's why it's so important to choose your circle wisely. So how do you build accountability into your life? Start by identifying the people who truly have your best interests at heart. These are the ones who will push you to be better, who will challenge you when you're slacking, and who won't let you settle for mediocrity. Be honest with them about your goals and ask them to hold you accountable. Next, create systems that force you to stay on track. This can be as simple as setting regular check-ins with a mentor, joining a group of like-minded individuals, or partnering with someone who has similar goals. Accountability doesn't have to be formal. It just has to be consistent. And finally, be accountable to yourself. At the end of the day, no one can want your success more than you do. Write down your goals. Track your progress. Reflect on your actions every day and ask yourself, did I give my best today? If the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. Instead, use it as motivation to do better tomorrow. Accountability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's a tool that keeps you grounded, focused, and moving forward. It's the difference between dreaming about success and actually achieving it. So surround yourself with people who lift you up. Commit to your goals with unwavering determination and hold yourself to the highest standard. Because success isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become in the process. And accountability is the key to becoming your best self. Discipline is a word that often gets misunderstood. People think of it as something rigid or restrictive, as though it's a set of rules that limit freedom. But discipline is not about limiting yourself. It's about freedom. It's the freedom to accomplish what you set out to do, the freedom to achieve your goals, and the freedom to become the person you've always wanted to be. The truth is, success demands discipline. It demands consistency, sacrifice, and the ability to keep going even when motivation fades. It's easy to feel fired up when you're inspired, But the real test comes when the excitement wears off and you have to push through the hard days. Discipline is what makes you show up when you don't feel like it. It's what makes you keep going when you want to quit. It's what turns dreams into reality, not by some magical burst of energy, but through steady, deliberate action over time. Success isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And the ones who win are the ones who keep showing up no matter how hard it gets. End quote. The problem with discipline is that it often feels uncomfortable. It requires saying no to short-term pleasures and distractions in order to focus on long-term goals. It's the choice to skip the party in favor of working on your passion project. It's waking up early to exercise when your bed feels so comfortable. It's pushing through frustration and self-doubt to finish what you started. But here's the thing. Every time you make that choice, you're strengthening your discipline muscle. It's like training for a marathon. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay on track. And as you build that muscle, you start to see results. The success you've been dreaming of starts to take shape. And you realize that it wasn't luck or talent that got you there. It was your commitment to staying disciplined. So how do you cultivate discipline? It starts with creating habits that align with your goals. Discipline isn't something that's forced. It's something that becomes ingrained in your daily life. Start with small, consistent actions. If you want to get in shape, commit to working out every day, even if it's just for 15 minutes. If you want to write a book, commit to writing a page or two every day. These small actions add up over time, and the momentum they create will carry you forward. Next, focus on self-improvement requires the ability to delay gratification, to choose long-term satisfaction over short-term pleasure. It means saying no to distractions, saying no to things that don't serve your bigger vision. You have to become comfortable with discomfort because that's where growth happens. The more you can delay your immediate desires in favor of your long-term goals, the more disciplined you'll become. The more disciplined you'll become. Finally, be kind to yourself. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. There will be days when you slip up. There will be times when you fall short. That's okay. What matters is that you get back on track. Don't let one setback derail your entire journey. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up consistently no matter the obstacles. Remember, discipline isn't just a trait you either have or don't have. It's a skill that can be developed. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And the rewards? They're worth every ounce of effort. When you stay disciplined, you'll find that you're capable of achieving things you once thought impossible. Now, let's talk about the importance of vision. If you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to get there? Without a clear, compelling vision of what you want to achieve, you're just drifting, reacting to whatever comes your way instead of actively pursuing your goals. Success begins with clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you want, and why you want it. A powerful vision acts as a guiding light. It gives you direction when the path gets foggy, and it fuels your motivation when things get tough. Your vision is the blueprint for your life. It's the destination that keeps you moving forward, even when obstacles try to stop you. The clearer your vision, the more likely you are to stay on course, no matter how many detours life throws your way. My vision for you is that you discover your purpose, and the more powerful your vision, the more likely you are to stay on course, no matter how many detours life throws your way. But here's the thing, many people don't have a clear vision because they've never taken the time to define it. They live day to day, just going through the motions, hoping something will come along and change their lives. But success doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention. You have to consciously decide what you want and commit to making it happen. A powerful vision is more than just a vague idea or wishful thinking. It's specific, measurable, and deeply tied to your values. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful. What does success look like for you? What does it feel like? Where will it take you? How will you know when you've reached it? These are the questions you must ask yourself. Once you have your vision, write it down. Don't just think about it, make it real. Put it on paper. And then break it down into actionable steps. A vision without action is just a daydream. Your vision becomes powerful when you set goals that align with it and take consistent action toward them. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to making that vision a reality. It's also essential to review and refine your vision regularly. As you grow and evolve, your vision may shift, and that's okay. Don't be afraid to adjust your goals if they no longer resonate with who you are or what you truly want. But always make sure that your vision is in alignment with your purpose. Your purpose is the why behind everything you do. If your vision is aligned with your purpose, you will have the passion and drive to see it through, no matter how difficult the journey. A clear vision also helps you stay focused. There will always be distractions, opportunities that seem tempting, people who try to pull you off course, or challenges that make you question if you're on the right path. But if you have a clear vision, you can filter out what doesn't serve you and keep your eyes on the prize. A vision is also a powerful motivator. When things get tough, as they inevitably will, your vision can keep you going. Remember why you started. The obstacles may feel insurmountable in the moment, but your vision is the reminder that there's something greater on the other side. It's what helps you push through the tough days, the setbacks, and the failures. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who just happen to get lucky. They are the ones who have a vision, who are driven by it, and who remain committed to it no matter what. Their success isn't accidental. It's the result of clarity, focus, and relentless pursuit of what they want. So take the time to clarify your vision. Visualize your future with precision. Make it vivid. Write it down. Set actionable goals, and then take consistent steps every day to make it happen. Your vision will be the foundation upon which you build your success. Without it, you're just wandering. But with it, you're unstoppable.